My name is James Burrows, and this is a restaurant overlooking the Battle of Scarif. This is more for my amusement park, which you guys have covered most of that. I wanted to do something different, and this is just the first phase of it. We're going to add a few more things to it. Renegade clone, I seen some photos of his shuttle, and I took a look at that, and I made some changes to mine, made it a little more sturdy in a few little sections. And I just wanted to give it the vibe of you're at an amusement park, theme-based. We have the roller coasters and everything else. So I wanted to make sure that I could tie it all together and not just concentrate on just doing Star Wars, so it'd be just a Star Wars scene.
Yeah, because we've seen a lot of Scarif builds now over the last year or two here, and so this is a nice twist on the typical Scarif build. I like what you've got, like the observation deck over there across the sort of pond area.
Yes, and this is just like, say, phase one. I'm planning on doing a movie theater. I'm also planning on doing like they do at Star Wars Days at Legoland or other places where they have the Lego builders come in and set things up. I'm going to do another building like that, and it'll all be visible. So that's kind of like where I'm still working on it. This was just kind of a quick throw together. It was done in like just the past week.
Okay. So you can talk a little bit more about the restaurant then and kind of the observation looking out there?
Right. With the restaurant, I wanted to tie in some things with the Star Wars that people would be familiar with, but I also wanted to make it kind of different. So I took a lot of the pieces from a Death Star and utilized especially the sticker pieces, because I'm not much for stickers, but some people recognize them. So I used some of the sticker pieces for doing the elevator on the inside and some of the dimension discs above some of the droids in there. I figured out how to use that. But the more unique thing about the building is that from set number 7100, which is it's a truck hauling a bridge, was the girder pieces. And trying to get those girder pieces and trying to figure out how to utilize and use them was kind of the biggest trick that I had. That took me about an hour to 2 hours more than I would anticipated. But once I got it figured out, now that's like, I'm like searching for those parts, and I've had other people say, that's not Lego. Yes, it is. And then I have other people like, that's a great idea. I know what I'm doing with those. So that's kind of like where we're heading with it.
Sounds good. And then you've got the massive shuttle over here that you mentioned. How sturdy is this? Does that thing travel pretty well?
That thing travels very well. The wings, they'll fold down. When it folds down, it's almost 5 foot wide. If I want to take it and travel, I can just pick it up, set it in the back of the truck, and take off. And they'll bounce around a little bit, but it doesn't hurt nothing. It doesn't make anything come loose. So I was really happy the way that it came out. Unfortunately, it takes to take them down, it almost takes 2 people to run the screws in it. I used I think it's Renegade Clone is the gentleman who I saw the pictures of, and I just kind of like reverse engineered it and took a look at a lot of the different things on it, and that was kind of the premise for it. Made some changes, made it a little more sturdy in certain areas, and I raised it a little bit more in height, and I extended it about 4 more studs.
Yeah, and it looks very sturdy and very imposing here with the build. It certainly captures your attention right away.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say it's a heavy build. When I gathered the parts for it, and then what I had to order, the part count from what my spreadsheet was about 6,100 parts. So it was a fun build, and it's really sturdy for what it is.
Yeah. Then you've got a few different tree designs here. Talk about some of the designs used there and kind of what you find works best with this sort of tree.
Well, with Scarif, as other people said, Scarif is a very lush green area. So I wanted to tie in some of the old palm trees, some of the new palm trees, and then some of the just a combination of both. The elements I guess you'd call them a 7-leaf element that's out. I didn't realize, but there's like 2 different versions of that now. So I'm just trying to use all the little pieces, gather up what I could use or what I had, and just trying to make them look more like a realistic tree instead of just a typical 4-leaf palm tree that like they used to have. I mean, I love the flexibility of the old ones, and I wish they'd bring that back. But I mean, there's different ways of doing it, but I just think this one looks the best.
Yeah, well, I love your twist on the Scarif build here, and I think the whole restaurant observation area is a cool idea, so I appreciate you bringing it to the show, and thanks for chatting with me about it.
Yep, not a problem. One last thing. Every one of my builds I always try to put some super rare parts in there, and I put in the pods, and I try to use Star Wars, so on and so forth. But the pods, these little pods right here, are from the original X-Wing, and they were the thruster pods, and those are really hard to find right now.
Okay. So yeah, just a little Easter egg sort of in there in the middle of the fight.
Yep, always got to throw something in there just so the person who's really looking at it nice and tight was like, wow, that's from, and that's what I'm trying to do. Always.
Great, good stuff. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.